You're listening to the Eat 'em Up Pod, your home for Detroit Tigers opinions, discussion, nonsense, and more. Now, here are your hosts, Jordan Hall and Alex Urban.
Welcome to Eat 'em Up. I'm Jordan Hall, joined as always by the Tailgate King of Detroit. It's Alex Urban. Alex, been a bit of a week for you, huh?
Yes, want to thank the listeners for their patience. Jordan, I want to certainly thank you for your patience. I live in beautiful northern Oakland County, and if you guys aren't in the southeast Michigan area, there was a water main break that left my house without potable water. So we didn't have water for a week, and it was just a little too much to record the podcast last week. Not that there was much to talk about, but we're back. We got potable water. We got drinkable water. The boil water advisory is lifted, so we are moving and grooving in the urban household. But Jordan, I want to tell you something, and this is something that was shocking to me. I went to a laundromat as part of this process, right? Can't do laundry. Things are stacking up. I got 3 kids. It's a whole deal.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
$7 for one wash, not including dry. $7, Jordan.
That's crazy.
Robbery in daylight. I was beside myself because I had, I don't know if I've ever actually been to a laundromat. Like, I grew up with a washing machine. I had a washing machine in my college apartment, moved back home for a minute, and then I've always had a washing machine, which isn't, a sign of luxury by any means, but I've never had to use a laundromat.
Wow, 1%er over here, yeah.
Right. But I was shocked at these prices, Jordan. So if you or any of the listeners would like to open a laundromat with me, I'm looking for partners because that $7 for a load.
I've got to ask, is this like the big one that can fit all your clothes, or is this like lights in one, darks in another, and this is like 7 times 4 or 5?
The washing machines were definitely smaller than the industrial-sized dryers, I will say. But in fairness, the washing machine was bigger than my one at home. But here's the kicker, Jordan. I had to download an app. I can hear you groaning at home. Had to download an app to use this washing machine and to get it to start. And of course, you have to plug in all your information. I'm already there. I drove 10 miles to get to this laundromat. I'm already having a tough time. I'm like, forget it. I'm not turning back now. And of course, now my email is just getting hit with all this junk. They sold my information the second they had it. So that was quite the rigmarole. But that hopefully will be the last time in a long time I have to go to a laundromat. I did learn my lesson. But who's got $7 and change? That was the thing. You could either put in $7 worth of quarters, like the Monopoly man and his big sack of change, or you can download this app and plug in your credit card. It was just complete madness. The only thing more maddening is the way the Tigers are playing right now, Jordan.
Yeah, I got to tell you, if I came across somebody with $7 in quarters, I would be deeply distrustful of them. Like, that would be, like, what has happened in your life that would lead you to a point where you have that many quarters?
You'd be jingling down the street as you walk. Your pants
madness.
would risk falling down from all that weight. Goodness.
But I'm assuming people do, yeah. I'd like to go out on a record and say I don't think that having to download an app to use the laundromat seems reasonable. That feels very disproportionate.
And then I have this app on my phone, and I'm like, I'm never going to use this again. And, use it. I could talk about this all night, but this is not a laundromat podcast.
Not yet, it's not. You want to talk some ball?
Let's talk ball, Jordan.
All right. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, things haven't been going great. You were at the stadium last night. Boots on the ground reporting. How are the vibes?
You know how we usually say through the roof, Jordan? The vibes are 6 feet under right now, and dirt is getting poured on as the days go on. No, it's horrible. It's horrible. Let me get this out of the way. I got to give a big shout out to my guy, your guy, Matt Derry. He texted me, invited me to the game. Huge Guardians fan. He is the host of the Derry Brothers Guardians cast. We've had him as a guest a couple times here, so he invited me. We had a really nice time. He, like me, is watching the game very intensely. He's not a guy who's just kind of there for the environment. Like, he's there to watch the game. That said, Jordan, this team looks lifeless to me right now. They look like they don't have any fight in them, and they look like they are just going through the motions, and the motions are poor defensive play. And it's just disheartening to me as a fan. And you listeners know, we're a very positive podcast, but I can't sell that to you right now the way the hometown broadcast has been. It's a bad product to watch right now, truly. Like,
Truly.
and we're going to get into this, Jordan, but I feel like they are not playing to their ability, injuries included. Like, this is just, they're not getting the best out of the guys that they have available, no matter who the name is on the back of the jersey. They're just not.
Yeah, take this team at absolute, like, peak health. It's not a team that's so overly talented that they have a whole lot of margin for error. All of the things that we became used to over the last couple of years, the great base running, I don't want to say great defense, but passable defense, timely hitting, getting that extra base that gets the big run that we need to win a game, or the run prevention. None of that has been there. It has been like every single time you think like, oh, this is a big moment that, I don't know, maybe we could build something off of. It doesn't come through. And then when you do get the one like the Torque walk-off, I don't know, at this point it feels like forever ago. You're like, okay, like now we build on this. Nope, go and lose 2 more, 3 more, 4 more, whatever it is after that. Yeah, I agree. Not typically a doom and gloom podcast, but the product has been rough. And we can talk all we want about injuries, and it's not that's not true, because it absolutely is. They've been absolutely decimated with injuries. But even the guys that are there, that are still playing outside of a handful of names, like, this is just not the same team psychologically, maybe, that we've seen over the last 2 years, and it's starting to worry me. I feel like the one tweet that I saw that caught my attention, it was from you, or from the podcast account. It made some sort of reference to it's still early, but it's getting late quick, and that, something to that effect. That stuck with me because it's still early, but it's getting late quick.
I mean, it's May, right? It's May 20th. We're recording on a Wednesday evening. So they've got months and months of baseball to go. But we can't say it's an early season anymore. We can't say, oh, go get them, get on a roll a little bit. They need to actually put some good games together and string that. They need to start winning some series, Jordan. I think the statistic is, coming into this Cleveland series, they had dropped 4 or 5 in a row. They're going to split this one, assuming that they win tonight, and hopefully that they win tomorrow.
Yeah,
but they
best
need
case
to
scenario. Yeah,
right. So they need to string some good games together, and I think health is going to be a big part of it. But they need some guys to step up. They need someone in that clubhouse to just lead by example, or be any kind of a vocal leader. And go out and play the game the right way, because I just keep going back to, they are better than they're showing right now, regardless of who's in the lineup. Like, this is a professional Major League Baseball team that's not a AAA team. I know there's a lot of AAA players in the lineup, but like, even the worst teams in the league can run into and string a couple wins across. What is the statistic? They're like 2-12 or 2-13 since Tarek Skubal went on the IL. It just feels like the team was a hot air balloon, and a missile struck the hot air balloon, and they just crashed. And the missile was this Tarek Skubal injury. But he's one guy, and I know they have other injuries, but just like, I don't know what happened inside the clubhouse, but it felt like they just completely faltered and crumbled, and whatever word you want to use. And here's my next point, Jordan, and I'd love your take on this. I'm a big A.J. Hinch guy. I genuinely think he is one of the best managers in the game. I think he is one of the best X's and O's manager in the game. He's a player's manager, all that thing. We have been singing his praises since the moment he got here. I am genuinely questioning his ability to get the best out of this team anymore. Between the crash at the end of next season and now this showing, the team wilts in the face of any kind of adversity, and they struggle to pull themselves out of it. So the vibes are either completely chill and they're playing good ball and have a little bit of fun, or they get stuffed into a locker. And I just don't understand it. And I just wanted to put that out there, because as much as we praise the guy when they win, I do feel like you have to look at him and say, okay, you are the guy at the top. What does it take to motivate this team to at least tread water a little bit, because they are drowning at the bottom of the lake in the face of these injuries and otherwise? But I ask the question to you.
No, I like you said, I'm 100% an AJ guy. Always have been, and I'm loath to pin too awfully much blame on a guy who's not out there swinging, throwing, all that kind of stuff. Like, but as you said, we give him credit for victories more than many other managers. And obviously he plays kind of a different game when it comes to managing. But yeah, the get up and go of this team just isn't there. And I don't know. I'm not sure if that is a lack of somebody to call it out in terms of like another player. Obviously, a lot of teams kind of have that like focal point that the Tigers don't. Even like Dingler and Jake, that I think we want to be those guys. I'm not sure they are, and we've mentioned before, like I'm not sure that a starting pitcher can really fill that role. I think it has to be a position player, somebody out there playing every day. And like if you look at the faces, that's not coming from any of our current guys. I think it could be Max in a year and a half or whatever, but it's not yet. But yeah, like there is some sort of block between, like you say, when things are good, the vibes are immaculate, and when they're not, they couldn't possibly be worse. And like for a game that lasts 8 months, like that's not sustainable. I mean, obviously the middle ground is right. It's a little bit on the players, it's a little bit on AJ, it's a little bit on luck. You know what I mean? Like I don't know that I necessarily want to pit it on anyone individually, but yeah, I don't know. And this is going to sound really bad because I enjoy it, but like the games, going so hard righty versus lefty, lefty versus righty, all this kind of stuff that he does to like try to get us the marginal gains, it feels cute at points right now, if that makes sense. Example, yes. Zach Short continuing to be in the lineup just because the lefties on the mound. Like, we've made reference that it's cool that Zach is back or whatever, but like Zach should be nowhere near a major league field. He has literally 0 hits for us at time of recording on May 20th. Literally 0 hits. Yeah, I feel like I've rambled a lot to say I don't know, but I'm not going to say it doesn't worry me at this point.
And I think it's totally fair. And in fairness to AJ Hinch, he's playing with the cards that he's been dealt in terms of the roster and the injuries. That said, I agree with you. It seems like the buttons that have been pushed in the past that worked so well are counter right now. It seems like when I was in the stands last night, I was flabbergasted, and I don't know in terms of the matchups or the analytics, but when he subbed in McKinstry for How You Lee, I hated the move. And I'm the president of the Zach McKinstry fan club. I was like, Lee is hitting the ball well in this game. Sometimes, in my uneducated baseball opinion, it's okay to just ride the hot hand or have a little bit of a belief in guy. Like, he's over managing right now, and I don't know if it's just he doesn't know what else to do, but it's in some instances hurting the team. And I'm right there with you with the Zach Short thing. 13 at bats, 0 hits. 278 OPS, Jordan. Like, he is not a major league player. And for as much as we like to poke fun at Scott Harris as being the waiver wire wizard, where's the waiver wire pickup? You're not telling me there's anyone out there on the scrap heap that they can sub out for Zach Short, or anyone in the minors that they can bring up for a week just to get a shot. Like, Zach Short has to go. He is not a major league player, and you've seen it on a night in, night out basis. He doesn't deserve to be in any lineup, but certainly for a lineup for a team that, in my opinion, still has playoff aspirations.
Yeah, of course. I think you touched on something really interesting that I want to circle back to, and that is overmanaging. I hadn't come up with that phrase, but that is exactly what he's doing. So I immediately go to lineup construction. If you ask me, there are 4 guys that just, like, we're so decimated, there's 4 guys that have to be in the lineup regardless. You have to have Dingler, Riley, Colt Keith, and McGonigal in the lineup every single night. I don't care if it's a lefty. I don't care if it's a righty. I don't care if they need a day off. These guys absolutely have to be in the lineup. We can't have How You Lee in the lineup or Zach Short in the lineup when you can rejig things to have Colt Keith in the lineup. I know it's been what it's been with Torque, but probably has to be him too. And from there, you just got to fill it out. Like, I I don't know. There's been way too many times of, like, not that Hal Utley's been the biggest of our problems, but him and Zach Short and even your boy McKinstry, like, it is not the time for getting cute with those guys. Like, there just has to be guys on the field that can hit the ball a little bit until some of these other guys get back, which, if you look at that objectively, are the guys coming back like that much greater either? So, that remains to be seen. But yeah, over managing, I think you hit that nail right on the head.
Yeah, and I think things will even out. We might get into this, we might not. The promising thing to me right now is all of these guys, other than Riley Green, who is scorching, sizzling, on fire, Jordan, are hitting and playing well below their career averages. So if you believe in the law of averages, and we love to use the phrase water find its level on this show, maybe this is the opposite of last year where they just look terrible and they're going to get it in high gear in the second half. We can only hope. But as we mentioned at the top of the show, Jordan, it's not late, but it's not early. And I believe as of tonight, and hopefully they're going to hang on and win, they were 7.5 games back in the division of the Cleveland Guardians, who never will go away.
Of course not.
I haven't taken a look at the wild card. Certainly they can make a run, but if there was a time to make a run, it would be right now.
Yeah, and I want to make a kind of a differentiation between, like, what has happened and what is still to come, because, like you say, there's so much time for baseball. Last I checked, that was like 2.5 back in the wild card. Like, the AL is so bad that there is still everything that we want to play for is still out there to play for. Obviously, you want to win the division, and realistically speaking, the Central winner probably will have the second bye in the playoffs. So, like, that is a real thing. That being said, there is plenty of time that if things just start to level off, everything that we thought about before the year is still in play, and but yeah, like you said, you just got to start. Even playing 500 ball for the next month, like, that would be killer. We would be right in the thick of things. Just play 500 ball.
Cleveland just tied it in the bottom of the ninth, by the way.
Oh, of course they did. That tracks. Fun.
All right, Jordan, let's get into some individual players. And listeners, we decided to switch it up a little bit this week. We're not going through individual games. We just kind of feel like we need to get our feelings out here and talk about what we think is not working and hopefully what will work.
And you guys watched them. They sucked the first time. Why are we going to relive all of that? Yeah.
Right. I have 3 or 4 players I want to touch on. And I feel like I have Kerry Carpenter here, but I feel like that's a little bit of cheating because he's been hurt right now.
Yep.
But between Tyler Holton, Kyle Finnegan, and Wenzel Perez, who do you want to touch on first?
Let's go Tyler Holton.
Okay.
I'll start. I think we have a massive Tyler Holton problem, and it bums me the heck out because I love that guy.
Same. I don't know what happened, and I guess I do know what happened. I mean, he was elite for 2 years, but he's a guy that doesn't rely on velocity. And if he's not hitting his spots, he's not effective. But on the season, Jordan, he has a 4.50 ERA, a 1.55 WHIP, 17 strikeouts, and it just feels like if he's inheriting a runner or even starting an inning, there's trouble brewing, right? Like, he's either letting guys on or letting guys score. The stuff just has not been crisp. He's not fooling guys. And I'm going to ask the question to you, Jordan. Is it time to send this young man down because he does have 2 options remaining despite all of the time he spent in the big leagues?
Honestly, if there were a good option to replace him, I would probably say yes. He's the kind of guy that if they are going to do anything in the playoffs, down the stretch, anything like that, like, he is clearly going to have to be a key piece. And I don't know, maybe with Brisky getting closer, some of these other guys like getting healthier, maybe that will become an option. I mean, he's basically just out there through attrition at this point, as opposed to, like, him being a good option at any given point. I feel like I said this the last time we spoke, but like the walk numbers aren't huge, but he just can't hit spots anymore. Like if you watch, like next time he's pitching, watch where the catcher is setting up and watch where the ball ends up. I mean, it's kind of your very base level, like how, what's this guy's command look like test. He is just not getting the ball where he intends to. I don't know if that's the kind of thing that like a little time out of the spotlight, a little bit time to like really hone in on your mechanics can fix. I tend to think that it might be for a guy like him that like not, a ton of movement in his motion, doesn't throw real hard, like maybe he can get it back. But I just don't see how running him out there game after game after game, which inevitably happens because he's Tyler Holton and that's what we do, is serving anybody now or in the future. Am I wrong there?
No, you're not wrong at all, Jordan. And I think he can get it back. I think, in the beginning of the season, he looked good. At certain parts in last year, he looked decent. But it might just be he needs that little bit of change of scenery, not with a new team, but just, when the lights aren't as bright. And having the ability to tinker with some hitters that aren't as, the crest between AAA and the major leagues is huge, right? If he were to go down there, he can take a breath. He can try a few things. If he gets knocked around, fine, but he's testing some things. Mm-hmm. And I think you bring up a good point with Brisky because it doesn't look good right now. It doesn't look right now. And we're not going to pin what's happening on any individual person or player, but he has cost them, in my opinion, a few games at least.
Yeah, and he has gone from a guy that like is a game changer for us to like in a positive way to being a game changer for us in a negative. Like he was for much of years are hard at this point, 2024 and honestly a decent amount of 2025. Like he was the piece in the bullpen. It was just a matter of like how you were going to use it. And not only is he not that, but he like you say, basically every time he goes out there, you assume something bad is going to happen. He's not hitting spots and he's hittable. You know what I mean? Like there is absolutely nothing to hang your hat on. And I will say, and this burns me to my core because I love guys like him, but he, like you say, he's a slop thrower. He doesn't have the best pedigree, and we've used the crap out of him. Like we have used him for so many innings, so many appearances. Sometimes it just doesn't come back. Like sometimes it's just over. And I don't want that to be the case for Tyler. Like he's obviously a huge part of this team, but I do think that we're kind of reaching a point where maybe we start to like not be surprised if that's the case.
Yeah. And this is really mean for the guy, but it makes me think of like the very end of a tub or a tube of toothpaste, and you're like squeezing that, like your hands are wringing that last little bit out, and that last little bit just finally doesn't come out. And you got to get a new tube. That's kind of how I feel like with Tyler Holton right now.
Yeah.
Jordan, I got to bring up another reliever I'm quite worried about in one Kyle Finnegan. This is a tweet
lay out the case. Yeah.
This is from our buddy Chris Brown, Tigers Minor League report on Twitter from May 16th, so 4 days ago. I know Finnegan came in tonight and looked decent. Finnegan came in today with the largest discrepancy between his ERA, which was 1.31, excellent, and his FIP, fielding independent pitching, which is 4.55, which is not good, of any qualified major league reliever. He is one of just 8 relievers to have a higher walk rate, 17.9%, that's a lot, than a strikeout rate, 16.7%. So the underlying numbers show that there is some severe regression coming, Jordan. That is like a monumental difference in my mind. And while the numbers have been good for the numbers that actually matter, and you could say that is what matters at the end of the day, I think that is a harbinger of things to come. And it really worries me as one of the guys that you really counted on, especially with Jansen not really being able to hold things down lately too.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like he is the guy in the bullpen that, like, every time he gets out of it, I'm always like, oh man, dang, I didn't think he was going to get out of that. yet somehow he does. And a lot of it is of his own making. Just some quick nerd numbers here for you. His batting average on balls in play yielded right now is 246, which is by a large stretch the lowest of his career, meaning he's getting good luck on balls in play. And his left on base percentage is 96%. I'm going to go out on a limb and say my man's not going to keep it there. I don't know. I don't want to be so doom and gloom, and all the show is going to be about like a lot of the guys aren't performing, and the ones that are performing are going to be performing less in the future. But this is one that, like, yeah, I think there is a bottom that's going to drop out here, and it's just a matter of time. And I'm just crossing my fingers that, like, Vest is back in top form. Kenley figures it out. Brisky's up before it happens, because without him and Herter, this bullpen is just an absolute dumpster fire. And if we lose him, like, it's a real scary season.
Yeah, and it makes me laugh, Jordan, when I think about the early episodes, especially in spring training, when we said the pitching was going to carry this team to the promised land. If the hitting could just be average, which they haven't been, we'd be all right, but the pitching would carry us. And then look at this. We are talking about, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but probably one of the lower third bullpens in the entire league.
I'd
Is
assume
that probably
so.
fair to say, that
Yeah.
off the dome? Anything else on Finnegan or any of the other relievers before I ask you about Wenzel, Xavier, Perez?
Actually, let's stay with the pitching. Were we?
Okay.
I'm just thought experiment. Were we wrong? Like, obviously, it's borne out that we were incorrect. Were we looking at it incorrectly coming in?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say
too fan casted.
Yes. I think we fell in love with what Finnegan did last year before he got hurt. Expected the world from Kenley Jansen at age 38, whatever he is, and didn't anticipate Will Vest getting hurt and having the dip in velocity. And they signed Drew Anderson and Emmanuel De Jesus, who were the darlings of spring training. Like, everything was coming up.
I'll
Tigers.
cop to that. I fell in love hard with those two guys, and I still believe in Drew. I'm going
He
down
looked
with
great
that ship.
tonight.
He did look
looked
great tonight.
Great tonight, and he honestly, Jordan, he has looked good lately, not just tonight.
Yeah, more often than not lately. And I do think that some of these, like, honestly, I think he should probably be starting. Like, I think he is just better suited to that role.
Yep.
Yeah, and you combine that with, like, neither of us are the type of people that are going to go into the season saying, like, oh man, I bet, or I think that Holton isn't going to bounce back. Like, of course we're going to think, like, oh yeah, like, Holton will be back to being Tyler Holton. And yeah, I mean, it is probably a little on us that we were a little overhyped, but
I didn't. You know what? In
Here
my
we are.
wildest dreams, I did not expect it to be this bad. I'll say that. Like, I think in my heart of hearts, there's always that little bit of, like, expectation of disappointment with all Detroit pro sports, right? Like, what if it doesn't work out? But the realist in me is like, no, they went to the playoffs the last couple of years. They added Framber Valdez. Things are looking on the up and up. But for the bottom to fall out the way it has it's incomparable. It's the Murphy's Law season. Everything that can go wrong has gone wrong so far.
yeah, and like, this is kind of just how it goes sometimes in professional sports. Like, there is such a level of parity in the way American professional sports goes that, like, sometimes reasonable rosters just have bad seasons. Like, I think of the Orioles last year. Honestly, this year, like, obviously their pitching is a mess. That's a whole thing. But, like, that's a very talented roster, and they were terrible. Like, sometimes that's just how it works out. Let's get to Wenzel, but one more stat I want to throw at you. Finnegan is striking out guys at 6 strikeouts per 9 this year, which is, again, far and away his lowest of his career. Yeah, I need to get off this Fangraphs page, because everything I read is just bumming me out. All right, closing that tab. Let's move on.
Oh boy, I mean that's damning. I did want to bring up Wenzel Perez, who you and I have been in the past both fans of, but for me that's kind of drying up quick here. There has to be someone in AAA or even AA who's a better option right now, Jordan. The young man is hitting 168 with a 222 on base and a 470 OPS. He's got 2 homers on the year, 17 hits in 101 at-bats. It has just looked bad. The defense has been poor. The base running has been just everything about Wenzel Perez right now is not working. And I wonder how much of it is he's just in his head because he's in such a hole. And I wonder how much of it is just this is kind of the player he is. And maybe he was punching above his weight. But I'm getting frustrated with the lack of moves for players like Wenzel Perez. Because in my mind, and again, this is only my opinion, not a baseball analyst, just a fan like any of you guys watching at home, but why not try anything else out that you have in the minors if it's going to look this bad? Or, and I've been banging the drum on this, Scott Harris, just go find the best defender that you can that can't hit anyway. Like if Wenzel Perez is going to give you nothing at the plate, at least go get an elite defender who can't hit a lick and run him out there until some of these regulars get back. It just feels like they are running into easy outs. They're not, battling up the pitch count for some of these other pitchers, and it's resulting in these losses because the bottom half of this lineup is as bad as it was in 2019 or 2003.
That is sharp, but true. The one pushback I'll say on that is literally what he did with Zach Short, and we'd spent a long time railing on that.
Fair.
The problem is you can't have multiple positions on a field that is the case for. Like, you are not going to be a successful baseball team if you are just hoping for literally anything at 2 positions on the field. Like, it just won't be successful. Yeah, I think I don't want to bash on Wenzel too much. Like, he has been, I would say, far more of a major league contributor than I ever would have imagined.
Agreed.
But he is I would say he's very representative of the problems that we've been having at large. He is unfocused to me in the outfield. As many games as your boy Holton has cost us. Like, he's cost us a couple games in the outfield too. And as you know, like, I'm not a guy that's like, oh yeah, we got to have good field. I don't care. Like, defense is for nerds. Let's hit the ball. But you have to at least be a base level of not looking insane out there. And sometimes he does. Like Carpenter, not a great right fielder by any stretch, but very rarely does it look like, what in the world was that? Whereas there's been 5 or 6 moments already this year where that is the case of Wenzel. Speaking of, he's up right now. I guarantee he drives in this, like the winning run here based on this conversation, which I would obviously take. And yeah, he's not giving anything at the plate. I think if he were a switch hitter, he would be sent down the road. But obviously, the over-managing we just discussed, I don't know. I agree. It seems crazy to me that there's not somebody. Honestly, Max, why not? That one surprised him. Like, he hasn't been lighting the world on fire, but like, I guarantee you put Max in the outfield, we're looking a heck of a lot better than with Wenzel right now. Corey Julks, he's kind of been the darling I've seen on Twitter these last couple days. He's been playing pretty well. I think we know what he is, but yeah, Wenzel's that spark plug kind of guy. When it's going good, and it has been going super, super, super bad. And obviously he didn't drive in the run. That would have been a nice bit of irony, but can't even have that.
In the month of May, Jordan, I saw a stat that the Tigers are dead last in runners and hitting in runners in scoring position in the major leagues. Dead last. And they just had 2 guys on, first and second, no outs in the bottom of the ninth, and a chance to walk off your mortal enemy, the Cleveland Guardians, who have come in here, made themselves incredibly comfortable at Comerica Park. And where's that fire in their belt? Like, where's the pride? Like, I'm not expecting a miracle here, but run into a win here, and it's killing me right now.
I would also say we just criticized AJ for over managing, maybe a little bit under man. I don't care that it's Riley Green up. like the winning run moved them into scoring position with one out. Like why are we not bunting? Anyway,
Right.
that is anyway.
Same.
Carry on.
I got one more question, which a lot of people might do a little pearl clutching on, Jordan, and I don't
All right.
expect you to have an answer right now. Listeners, I want you to chew on this until this guy comes back from injury. Is Kerry Carpenter the next iteration of Chris Shelton and Brennan Bosch? Flash in the pan, really exciting player. You think he's a piece of the core. Everybody's screaming off the rooftops for the guy. And then you see the warts, you see the flaws, and eventually he kind of just washes out. Just going to leave it with you. And again, not a fair question while he's injured.
I mean, I kind of I see where you're coming from. I also think that he's had a little bit more sustained success. Oh, geez, here comes Tyler Holton. He's had some more sustained success than either of those guys. He's got 3 different years pushing 20 homers. He's been in the 60s in RBIs. Like, I think we let ourselves get carried away with what we expected from him being a 19th rounder. Like, obviously things, you get new info when he's in the minor leagues and that kind of stuff all coming up. Like, but I think we definitely let the expectations get out ahead of us a little bit. But I don't know that I'm quite willing to throw Bosch or Chris Shelton on him. I could also just be misremembering how long they were successful. Where do you come down?
I'm not ready to go there yet, but if writing were on the wall for the player, it's starting to feel eerily familiar. And again, like, he's had some huge moments. He's had more staying power than Chris Shelton for sure. Maybe that one's not fair. But Brennan Bosch, I just go back to that 2008 season, I think it was. Maybe I'm getting the year wrong, but he was the 2-hole hitter, and everybody was expecting him to, that was the perfect spot for him. And he had the great year before, and it kind of just faltered. And Kerry is looking more and more, when he's healthy, to me like a platoon bat who, and we just talked about defense, he's never going to be a great defender, and I think he's only going to continue to lose a step. On the season, Jordan, he's hitting .216 with a .299 on base and a .750 OPS, which is not terrible. 6 home runs, mind you, though. I think he's always going to have the ability to run into one, but I don't. Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Tyler Holton just gave up the go-ahead run there in the bottom of the 10th. That's wonderful. Anyway, that's all I got on Kerry Bonds Carpenter for the time being.
Yeah, it's point in case of letting our imaginations run wild with him. I will point to okay, so let's take his 2025, our most recent data point coming into this year. 252, obviously that's batting average is what it is. 291, he's never going to be a guy that takes a walk. But 788 OPS. There aren't guys that have a almost 800 OPS that grow on trees. We're not so flush with them that like we can afford to be flippant with the ones that we have. Even this year, like obviously he's not hitting for average at all, but he hits for some power before he got hurt. I don't know. Like I feel like he just kind of is in that same pile with Torque, maybe even Colt Keith of like, I think that this is a guy that you can win the AL with as a part of your lineup. He just can't be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in your lineup. It has to be lower in the order like that. And yeah, things are just straight up falling apart. So that's fun. Yeah, I feel like that's where I'm at with him.
Yeah, same. And let's leave more of that conversation for when the guy gets back, because maybe he gets back and he lights the world on fire. But
how do you think he comes back? I feel like he's such a timing guy that I could see him struggling, but I also think that it was such a rough stretch for him at the plate before he got hurt that like clearing the head might help. Like I don't know, maybe it evens out and he's just normal carry, but I feel like it could go one of two ways when he comes back.
I could see him hitting 2 home runs in his first game back. I could also see him going, after those 2 home runs, hitless in the next 5 games. It's totally hard to say. I will say, and this is totally unfair, and I'm sure that it was. I I did wonder, just based on the eye test of the injury, if this was one of those, just take a breath, get right a little bit. I mean, obviously it's not a catastrophic injury, but it didn't look too severe for me. But I mean, he's been on the IL longer than I expected even. How about that? So who knows?
Yeah.
And I'm no doctor.
No?
Jordan, do you want to give away some Tiger King crowns?
Honestly, I kind of don't. Yeah, let's do it. I feel like there's an obvious choice. Let's do it. He deserves it. He's been. All right, I'll go first. Riley Green has been scorching hot, and it's the only offense that we've had now for 10 days, 2 weeks, 5 years. Like it's all running together. But over the last 7 days, 421 average, 542 on base, and a OPS north of 1,000. This is, I don't know. I will be very interested in what the next 3 weeks look like him, because we've seen these stretches where it is just he is lighting the world on fire, and then he comes back down to earth. This is obviously speaking from my heart, not my head here, but it looks a little different. It looks like he's got more of an idea. It looks like he has maybe turned a corner. I'm curious what that looks like. So guy that I'm monitoring every at bat for the next couple weeks. But yeah, Riley gets mine.
I can't go in any other direction, Jordan. Riley Green gets mine as well, and he is now tied with Cater Montero for leader in the clubhouse with 2 Tiger King crowns.
Here's a more interesting question. You got to give it to somebody else. Who do you give it to?
I would probably give it to Drew Anderson, Jordan, surprisingly, because I feel like
what a position. Yeah,
all of Tiger's Twitter wanted this guy run out of town on a rail, and he has quietly at least looked serviceable, and I really like the way that he took the ball today and mowed down the Guardians hitters, and kind of a hot offense too. And
yeah,
they're down 3-1. The Guardians are still batting in the top of the 10th, but this is going to be a horrific game to lose. And I hope and I pray, if they do lose, that this is rock bottom, because this was a game that you had to win. This will be 5 consecutive loss series, and I don't know how you're going to do tomorrow. Don't get swept at home.
Sure feels like rock bottom. Whether it is or not, I don't know, but it definitely feels that way.
It does. Same question to you. If you were going to give one to anyone but Riley Green, who would it be?
I think you're right. I think it's Drew, which is, like, I don't know, maybe pause. Like, it was just his birthday not too awfully long ago. Like, I don't know. The options are not deep. You know I gotta say, this has been a really pissy podcast. You know who's been much, much better than I would have ever guessed? Connor Siebold.
Yeah.
All he does is come in and get outs. I don't understand. It doesn't appear to be anything special. It feels like I could barrel it up. But somehow it works. But yeah, it's been a week.
That's a good call. Siebold has been pretty decent in a sea of mediocrity and below otherwise.
Deep sea of mediocrity.
All right, Jordan, let's look at the next 4. They end a 4-game set with the Cleveland Guardians tomorrow. It is a 1:10 first pitch. Casey Mize on the bump for your Tigers. Then the boys go to Baltimore to take on the Orioles. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Flaherty, Valdez, and Montero. What is your prediction for the next 4, Jordan?
I'm going to go 2-2, which is crazy because that feels like wildly optimistic. But I think Casey gets it done. Casey looked good in his first outing back, I will say.
He did. Yeah, he did.
Give me Casey and give me Fromber getting back to his ways. He's been a little light on what we've expected. That means it seems like he either is brilliant or gets just pounded, which I feel like that does kind of run up your ear. Anyway, all that to say, 2-2. How about you?
Give me 3-1, Jordan. I think they're going to take the game tomorrow. I like the way Mize is thrown, and I think I don't know what it is, but they're going to win the series in Baltimore. And they're going to start to get some of these guys back, and the vibes are going to improve. They're not going to be this bad for the rest of the season. They won't. I mean, genuinely, they won't. The worst case scenario in my mind, because I know they're going to get better, is they're going to be completely out of it. They're going to sell, and then they're going to get hot at the end of the year and tank their draft stock. But I'm still not willing to give up on the playoffs right now, and I'm going to take my flag and I'm going to stick it in this Oriole cartoon bird, and they're going to win that series, Jordan. Give me 3-1 in the next 4.
It is nice. Go to Baltimore, home to the Angels, and then go to the White Sox, which I know the White Sox have been good, but it's still the White Sox. This is hopefully a bit of a soft landing next 9 games. Gotta start making some hay with it.
I mean, if they go 2-7 in those games, I might go on this podcast wearing gloves, take them off like a doctor, and then call the time that the Detroit Tiger season died. Time of death,
it's dark,
whatever that is.
But
we're not going there.
Yeah, so
at least not yet.
Not going there. Yeah, like you say, honestly, in 2 weeks we may have a very, very much more clear picture for the rest of the season.
And I hope it is clear and a good clear.
Yeah.
You want to go down on the farm, Jordan?
Let's do it. I just try to give some numbers from some guys that could potentially help. This is over the last 14 days. Max has been okay. About a 300 on base, slugging or OPS, less than 600. Seems like he's starting to get hits again, but not really hitting for much in the way of pop. The one that I wanted to call attention to is Eduardo Valencia. He's really started to find a little bit of a power stroke. 876 OPS over the last 15 days. It's not like we can't rejig the lineup to find ways to get him in. I believe he is on the 40-man, so I'm not exactly sure what we're waiting for when Zach Short and Hao-Yu Lee and all of these guys are getting ABs. But at some point, like you say, if nothing else, try to shuffle the deck a little bit. Also, Corey Julks has been doing pretty well down on the farm too. The end of the bench is thin as all get out. There are some options down there, but Julks and I think Max at this point too would require a 40-man move. But that's what's happening on the farm. Also, don't look at Bryce Rayner's numbers; it'll bum you out.
I still am a big believer, but there's a lot they need to iron out there.
Yeah, I am too. Just the strikeout numbers are insane.
Woof. In this game this evening, and I'm sorry, listeners, by the time you are hearing this, you'll already know if they won or lost. Our boy Zach McKinstry hit in Wenzel Perez, so it was a 3-2 ball game with Hao-Yu Lee just striking out for the first out. My last point, Jordan, on the minors and the 40-man, I am willing to absolutely nuke the bottom of the 40-man roster to try to keep this season afloat. If it means casting off some guy that they think they took a flyer on and could be lightning in a bottle, that's fine. This season is way too important for them to fall into a hole. And the one thing I will say about this current front office that kind of bugs me sometimes is it's just so rigid. Like, you got to try something different when things aren't going well. And I feel like we are at a tipping point, and they're going to have to make some real changes soon if this continues.
Yeah. Yeah, also, I'm looking at the 40-man right now. I'm seeing somewhere between half a dozen and 10 guys that if they just no longer were in the organization, I don't think I would even think twice. So, not like there's not room.
Oh, let's get into some listener questions, Jordan. Everyone is feeling about the same we are. I did ask the question, though, Jordan. Call your shot, and I'll ask you here right now. Buyers or sellers at the deadline here on May 20th?
Do we have any answers from listeners before?
We do. Would you like to hear the listener answers first?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get wild.
Nick Alampi, he says, I think we're buyers of the deadline, with the deadline not being until August 3rd, which is news to me, and with most of the injured players coming back relatively soon, I think we'll be fine. Scooble's return being sooner than initially expected help. Flaherty might be gone when we get more back. Yes, I agree with that. B-Rad, at Whiskey Brad on Twitter, says, should be buyers. I think they will be in a round 500 team at the deadline, which will have them within striking distance of the division. Will Scott Harris execute? ? To me, that is the real question.
Yep.
And then I would love your answer, Jordan.
Honestly, I agree with him. I think that I think that's the right call. Not a gambling podcast, but if I had to make a wager, Tigers make the playoffs, miss the playoffs, I think they're still going to make the playoffs. And I think that adding a select piece or two at the deadline is only going to help that. But yeah, I agree with basically everything that those guys say. I think the division and the league is imminently doable. If we were in the NL, I think I would be out on the season probably at this point. But we're not. We're in the AL. So how about you?
I think they're going to be buyers as well. I'm not willing to give it up. And honestly, 2 weeks of good baseball flips a season, especially in May, on its head, right? Yep. Like we could be, and the Tigers lose, by the way, 3-2, had a 1-0 lead in the top of the ninth with 2 outs. That is horrific. But all of that said, I think their best ball is yet to come. Even when they were playing decent in the beginning of the season, I think they have not played their best baseball yet. And I'm still hopeful. Like you mentioned, they're 2.5 games or whatever it is out in the wild card. If they are 3, 4, 5 games within the wild card at any point in this season, we are still glued to the TV. Unless the wheels truly fall off of this thing, I think they'll be buyers too.
Honestly, that's why I'm so pissy right now about this season. Is it's all still to play for, and we keep squandering it and making it harder and harder on future Tigers. You know what I mean? Like, there is nothing to say that this can't still be a good season, and every single day we make the hill a little bit harder, seemingly. I think that's what is so irritating.
Well, if the Cleveland Guardians can make up 15.5 games in a season, why can't your Detroit Tigers?
We've seen it happen.
Laps on Twitter. Laps, how are you? He says, with this season swirling down the toilet, let's look ahead to 2027. The Tigers have 3 foundational hitters in McGonigal, Dingler, and Green. He says that's it. Every other hitter is replacement level. Pitching looks bleak as well. In the bullpen, who's worth keeping? Vest ? The starting rotation, Skubal and Mize likely leaving, so Framber, Montero, Melton, and Job. He says 75 and 87 this year, and next year looks dismal as well. Please make me a believer in a brighter future for this team. He says, thank you for this excellent podcast. Thank you for the compliment, Laps. Jordan, I'd love to start with this one.
Hit me, because I'm having a hard time immediately thinking of a comeback here. So hit me with some optimism.
As bad as things are right now, I still think the overall outlook of the franchise is bright. And I know that their farm system rankings have been tumbling down lists because of the graduation of Kevin McGonigal, and you really only have blue chips seemingly in Max Clark and Bryce Rayner, although I think a lot of people are forgetting about Bryce Saino because he's hurt. But I do think next year a rotation of, and let me say this out of left field, I think they re-signed Casey Mize, and I'm pro re-signing Casey Mize. A rotation of Framber, Mize, Melton, Job, and Montero is probably still top, 15 in the league. And that's assuming that they don't trade for, any starting pitcher or sign any starting pitcher. There's going to be a lot of work needed on the offensive side of the ball, but they have $90 million coming off the books after this season. $90 million. And it will be the last season of Javier Baez on the contract. So Scott Harris, as much as a lot of people are definitely non-believers in him these days, he's going to have some money to spend. And he's going to have some prospects that I think we're all in agreement he's going to have to ship off at some point because they're going to have to bring in some talent here. So as bad as it's been this season, I do think they could be right back in it next year, even if they just miss the playoffs this year. And I don't think they will miss the playoffs this year. I think this is a building year, and the best is yet to come.
All right, I'm glad you spoke that out, because I agree with you with everything you laid out there. That is the optimism we all needed to hear tonight.
David Ham on Twitter, he wants to know, he says, regarding the offense, he doesn't have empirical data, but he's wondering if teams throw more off-speed pitches to Tigers than others. Seem to have too many hitters who struggle to adjust. Thinking about that last at-bat in the ninth today, so that was a few days ago, with a potential winning run at third. This is above my pay grade, Jordan. Any thoughts on that one?
I do think we have a lot of good fastball hitters, which obviously usually means you're going to see more breaking balls. But I would agree this is a little bit above my pay grade. You should ask Chris Brown about that. That feels like a Chris question.
Indeed. I'll hit you with a twofer here. Two different sides of the spectrum. Andrew, a.k.a. Back Porch View, he says, is this week's series against Cleveland going to end the Tigers' divisional and postseason hopes before the calendar flips to June? ? Will the city of Cleveland continue to embarrass Detroit sports teams? I will say that Pistons Game 7 against the Cavaliers was horrific, and it wasn't even as much hurtful to me as it was embarrassing, truly, as a Detroit sports fan. On the other side of the spectrum, Aaron Caverly, he says, is there too much doom and gloom surrounding the team right now? ? If we get healthy and stay healthy, the division is up for grabs, I'd think. I'm going to side with Aaron on this one. They're not out of it. They still got everything in front of them, despite everything that we've talked about on this podcast. And it really does take 1 month of good baseball for them to be right there in terms of the division or otherwise.
I agree, but I don't know that I necessarily think there's too much doom and gloom. I'm usually the guy that said, Twitter, would you chill out? Feels like they've kind of been more or less on it recently. Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to be the guy that, like, panics or is pissy on Twitter or whatever, but, like, I don't know. I kind of get it. And there's a lot of weird stuff going on in the world right now. Like, if your release is screaming into the void about Tigers baseball on Twitter, do what you got to do. So, yeah, I think in terms of general outlook, yeah, people are probably sleeping a little bit on what can still happen. But I don't know. Go nuts on Twitter. I don't care.
I will agree with that. I think the response has been warranted. Well, Jordan, what an episode. Not our usual selves. That's it for this week. Anything for the good of the order before we sign off?
I don't think so. Just if this is your first episode, like you say, this is not typical. And I would imagine next week we probably will bounce back to the usual chipper self. But sometimes you just got to get stuff like this out of the system. So we pissed and moaned for an hour is what it is.
Amen. Well, Jordan, I genuinely had missed talking to you. We took a week off last week, and it felt like it had been a long time. Listeners, thank you guys for listening. We are going through this together. Like, Jordan and I live and die by this team, just like you guys do if you're listening to the show. So we hope it gets better, but we truly appreciate you listening. It will get better at some point. I'll promise you that much at least. So if you're not already subscribed, if this is your first episode or if this is your 100th episode, give us a subscribe from your favorite streaming platform. We are on YouTube. We're on all the streaming shows. You can follow along. We have fun on the socials at Eat 'em Up Pod. No matter what your favorite is, Twitter, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, what have you. You can follow Jordan at Hosted by J Hall. I am at AUrban91. New episodes traditionally every Wednesday. Let's see what else, Jordan. Oh, while you're there, give us a 5-star review. We are always accepting listener feedback, suggestions for show topics. You can tell us we're a bunch of knuckleheads. eatemuppod@gmail.com. And let's hope they turn this thing around quick. So on behalf of Jordan Hall, I'm Alex Urban. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.